The ladies' turf is a grade three. It's the 10th race on the Saturday card at Kentucky Downs. It's run on a mile on the turf, of course, for 3 year olds and up, fillies and mares. And boy, this is a great betting race, and that's signified by the favorite Mission of Joy at 4 to 1, who's been a stakes horse for Graham Motion. Sometimes there, sometimes not. Evie Jets, the New York import, who's run in a lot of high quality stakes races. Regal Realm, last year's winner. You've also got Walkathon for Ian Wilkes, Moofy, Hard Knocker, Implicated, who's on a 2 race winning streak. Fluffy Socks for Chad Brown, can't have a turf race without Chad Brown in it. And Sacred Wish, and Nadette for Neil Drysdale coming in from the West Coast. So this is a pretty good betting race, I'd say. I mean, it's pretty wide open in a lot of respects. You take a look at this field, and if we look on the front end, of course, we want to pay attention a little bit more to the later runners, given the configuration of Kentucky Downs. And what I found from the early runners is most of them really aren't coming into the race in terribly good form. Most notably, Spirit and Glory, who will likely be on the engine. Uh, You've also got Regal Realm, who won this race last year from the front end, which is a real feat at Kentucky Downs, but isn't coming to this race in very good form. And the tricky thing here is that a lot of times Kentucky Downs can elevate horses who are in bad form. Most notably last year, Gear Jockey killed me. Was a horse who just wasn't running well at all, but is a horse for the course at Kentucky Downs. So, um, you want to keep that in mind to a degree. And Regal Realm is a horse I kind of wrestled with whether or not to use or not, but the form just isn't very good in comparison to the others, and that's why I'm leaving her off. We look at some of the other more notable ones. I just mentioned Mission of Joy. Really, the only reason that I am throwing her out is that this horse is very inconsistent and can disappear easily. Now, she has back class, no doubt about it. But I also noted that she doesn't run terribly well off the bench. And you couple that with an inconsistent performer, and even though this is a bit of a class relief for Mission of Joy, I just don't really feel comfortable using her as the favorite in particular. If I had little better odds, I might give her more of a shot. So I'm going to let her go and try to beat her. I think it's a good time to do that. Now, we look at some of the ones that I'm interested in. Walkathon in the preview at Ellis Park last time, I thought ran a really good race. It's a distance that Walkathon likes. You are getting a field that she fits in, and I just like the form. I like the fact that she had a stalking trip last time and was able to uh, run down the field and take it. And I thought it showed me a horse that is coming into the race in good form. Third off the layoff for Ian Wilkes, who has had 2 starts at Kentucky Downs so far and has a second and a third. His barn was pretty live over at Ellis Park, as I recall, or Colonial rather. So I think the barn is in good shape, and I think Walkathon is a good fit here. Maybe needs to run a little bit faster, but I think is going to be a solid contender in here. Evie Jets has a ton of backlash. She's run against everybody, grade ones, grade twos, and has come up on the short end a lot of times. But this is a hard knocker and proved last year in the Boston Spa that she can rate, doesn't necessarily have to have the lead. And I don't think she's run badly. I think she's just run into a lot of buzzsaws in some really tough races. This should be a nice relief, and at 12 to 1, I think you're getting excellent value. And I like Evie Jets in this spot. More so. Let's just if you look at the early runners, I just don't see a whole lot of them who are really good form. So, uh, granted, we want later runners, but I think also this is a race being at a mile that they can run up near the pace and still be effective in this race. So we want to keep that in mind. One of the other reasons is that If we go down to a horse like Fluffy Socks, now Fluffy Socks has won at Kentucky Downs before and broke her maiden, which is a pretty impressive feat, I'd say. But we know the book on Fluffy Socks. I mean, she just always seems to end up second or third. There always seems to be horses that are better. And at 9-2, to me, I think it's a horse that you have to try to beat. Going to be coming late, but I just like others a little better. That's really the only reason. I think she's more a candidate for underneath. I think this is just a race where you have to find the optimum value given a 4-1 favorite and a second choice at 9-2. I think that says it all here. I settled on Implicated. Implicated has run as a 2-race winning streak, loves the distance, and beat Fev Rover in the Nassau last time. And Fev Rover came back and ran a hell of a good race in the Beverly D over at Colonial. Now, it's no sin to lose to Moira, but she ran huge, and the track was a little on the speed favoring side that day. So the fact that Implicated was able to beat a horse who's in really good form and was a Canadian Horse of the Year, I think sets her up very well in this spot. So I like Implicated here. Moofy is just a hard knocker. This horse is always in the money, tries really hard. I think maybe needs to run a little bit better. You'll note that Augustin Stables has 3 horses in this race, Moofy being one of them. But I just like Implicated a little better. I think Moofy is going to run her race, and at 10-1, bottom of the exotics, that's nice value. So we'll throw Moofy in the mix. And then we come to Nadette. Now, when Niels Drysdale ships, you have to pay attention. He's a very reclusive trainer, let's say. And, if he brings a horse, there's a reason for it. Now, the thing that sours me a little bit on Nadette is in the Beverly D, granted, the track was speed favoring, so she was at a bit of a disadvantage, but closed very well in the stretch. The problem for me was she couldn't sustain it and let another horse whose name escapes me get by her in the stretch, so she ended up 4th when I thought she was setting up for a really good 3rd behind Fev Rover and Moira. So I do have concerns when you consider how long the stretch is at Kentucky Downs that perhaps she won't be able to sustain it quite as well as some of the others. And her late fraction is fairly far down the list on Brisnet. So while being the lone closer, I certainly like that. I'm not sure, given the form of the front runners, whether or not she's going to have a pace to run to. And so for me, Nadette, I just kind of, I think she's more likely to come underneath. So Implicated to me makes the most sense and is the logical horse to beat here. So if we take a look at our wagering strategy, we're going to go with Implicated with the win bet. And then we'll go with Implicated number 4 on top with 6 and 11 in a key exacta. Then we'll key box 4, 6, and 11. And then we're going to key box 4 over 1, 3, and 5. To me, a trifecta is a little problematic in that we've got a few horses in this race who are horses for the course. They have run and won at Kentucky Downs. The problem is the form isn't very good. But I could see if we go back and take a look, just for your reference, Turner Loose is one that the form just isn't there. But again, a horse who could be elevated by Kentucky Downs. Regal Realm we talked about, same thing. And even Sparkle Blue, who ran a pretty good second to Regal Realm last year. But again, I think that race is a bit of an anomaly when you consider that horses just don't win on the front end. I think 4 won at Kentucky Downs last year on the front end for the whole meet. So those are some horses to think about. If you want to do a trifecta and you're looking for odds, there's maybe some that you can put in underneath, and it honestly would be a little bit too big a ticket for me. I just don't like having a whole lot of horses in third for the trifecta, but I would just throw that out there if that's something that you want to pursue. maybe that's something that you think about. But to me, Implicated is the horse to beat here. And at the price at 6-1, I think you're getting some really good value. And I just don't like the two favorites, Mission of Joy and Fluffy Socks. You want to throw Mission of Joy in there for second? Okay, I can understand it for sure. But I think this is a race that just screams value, and you've got to try to max out the ROI. So that's what we're going to go with. Hope this analysis helps you with your own wagering strategy. As always, wish you the best of luck. This should be a lot of fun. Kentucky Downs, the payouts are always pretty darn good. It's a fun meet because the track is just so unpredictable and unique. So I think this race right now looks to me like one of the ones that's the most fun for betting purposes. So be on the lookout. We'll have more for Saratoga and Del Mar. And it's a really busy weekend. It should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you are as well. So I'll talk to you soon. And until then, be well.